Hello everyone, my name is Sniping is Fun, and I welcome you back to a quick discussion, topical, debate style video, my thoughts on it, and it's going to be a Pokemon and Smash Brothers, because that's my channel, small little discussion idea video. A lot of people have been speculating on Smash Bros. And when it comes to my Smash Stage videos, those are coming. I'm sorry, I've been very busy with work and whatnot, especially in this current world. I'm still working. And other YouTube videos. I'm working on stuff behind the scenes. I'm writing stuff down, so it is all coming eventually. But on the topic of Smash Bros. Discussions, a lot of people have been speculating because in the first Fighters Pass, Fire Emblem Three Houses, the latest, biggest, newest Fire Emblem game, got a character in Byleth. A lot of people are speculating in the second Fighters Pass, Pokemon Sword and Shield are going to be getting a character. Because Sakurai has compared the franchises, why Fire Emblem gets them out the representation it gets, it equals it out to and compares it to Pokemon. Pokemon and Fire Emblem always get at least one new character every Smash Bros. Game, and pretty much, Pokemon and Fire Emblem are on the exact same playing field with large rosters, representing multiple games in their series in Smash Brothers. So, yes, Sakurai has compared it, even fans have compared it, and if you look at the representation it gets each game, which it does get at least one character each game, they are comparable. So, a lot of people that come to that conclusion that Second Fighters Pass in Smash Bros. Ultimate's DLC is going to have a Pokemon Sword and Shield character to promote that game like they promoted Fire Emblem Three Houses with the first Fighters Pass, really have a lot to go on, and it has happened before, and it is an idea that can and probably will happen, despite if you want it to happen or not, especially because a lot of people out there say, too much Pokemon, like they say, too much Fire Emblem. And those are two franchises I always expect new characters from, and I always want new characters from, because there's always new games to represent. In conclusion, though, this video is going to be my thoughts on who from Pokemon Sword and Shield would make sense if it ever got a character in this Fighters Pass. And when I was looking down, what potential choices it was, looking at the base game, looking at what characters are, which ones are more popular, what characters, fans, Pokemon they're requesting, the DLC and whatnot, I have concluded to 8 possible choices. 5, 8, yeah, 3, 8. 8 possible choices. And they are likely ones you've probably seen coming, probably ones you would expect. And when it comes to a character, people always say, this choice makes the most sense because it represents this. This choice makes the most sense because it's this typing. This choice makes this. This choice fits in with the roster. This. It can go any way in my 8 choices. It really could. There's other certain ones that make more sense, and other certain ones, Sakurai and Nintendo would more, and, Pokemon Company, would all want, Game Freak would want to choose over other ones. Yes, there's probably out of these 8, 3 to 5 that are more likely than the other 5 to 3 or whatever. So anything's possible. I just pick it out because I'm these all fit certain categories that can represent certain things, and also represent certain types of Pokemon that either we don't have yet, or represent certain types of Pokemon that they have picked before for former Smash Brothers games. And I'm going to go through them right now. This video is going to be my ideas for the 8 possible choices of Pokemon from Sword and Shield that could get into the second Fighters Pass and become DLC for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, I'm going to first classify the first 3, and you're going to know exactly where I'm going this when I say 3, into one inclusion here. And one of the 3 possible choices are also the starting types, the final evolutions for Grookey, Sabo, and Scorbunny. Cinderace, Rillaboom, and Inteleon. They're all possible choices. And I know a lot of people say immediately jump to Rillaboom because it's a grass type and we don't have a grass starter by itself yet, only Ivysaur. Yeah, that's a good conclusion, and that was a lot what we were going for when we wanted to talk about the Decidueye back before Incineroar was added to Ultimate, when we were talking about a 7th generation Pokemon. But then Incineroar was added because it was the big Pokemon pretty much in the anime and whatnot, and I think it was the most popular starter in general to begin with. But it's they picked Incineroar, but people were okay, we don't need another fire type, we don't need Cinderace, and then Inteleon, we don't really need another water type because we have other water types like Squirtle and whatnot. Sorry, but I don't think the typing really counts any of them out. Cinderace is a very, very popular, probably the most popular starter in Galar in Sword and Shield. Inteleon is also a very popular starter, as is Grookey becoming Rillaboom. All of them stand a chance, typing or otherwise. I know for like balancing out the types of characters and the different types of Pokemon, people would want a grass type starter because we already have like 2 water starters and 2 or 3 fire starters. But I don't think that's going to exclude Cinderace or Inteleon, and it doesn't automatically give Rillaboom the biggest chance. They usually go for the starters, so I think the 3 starters from Galar really stand a chance. But there are other choices too. But like I said, I do think the 3 starters, Cinderace, their final evolution, Cinderace, Inteleon, and Rillaboom, all stand a pretty good chance because the typical pattern they go for is picking starter Pokemon from different generations. Which one they would pick over the others depends on popularity, which ones are more used in the anime, the Sword and Shield anime coming out right now, which ones are big advertisements, which ones are more popular and so on and so forth, used and more important, if you would say. So that's 3 of the 5. 2, I'm going to be going with the 2 legendary dogs, Zamazenta and Zacian. And I do think if they get in, I think there's going to be a way where they make them a dual character, like a Ice Climbers type character, a interchangeable character, maybe like how Sheik used to be Zelda. You used to have them together, and now they can separate. You press down B, you switch between them. Maybe it's a 2-in-1 character you switch between them, because I don't really see them picking Zamazenta and not Zacian. I don't see them picking Zacian and not Zamazenta. Here's the issue, though. They normally don't pick legendaries, like the direct legendaries that are on the cover and directly the main legendaries of the story. So I think they have that going against them, and I think they would probably be more of a stage hazard for the stadium or whatever stage. I think it would probably be Windown Stadium more likely. Whatever the stage is, they probably would be a stage hazard. And represented as a cameo in the stage, probably more so over being actual characters, because you can't really pick one without the other. And I think a dual character, while cool, is not as likely. And it kind of goes like Sakurai and all that has never really picked a legendary that's like on the cover. They pick legendaries that have, like Mewtwo, that's more of a secret in the game kind of thing. That makes it 5. My 6th choice is going to basically be a Pokemon that's super popular in the generation, has a typing that kind of makes it different and stand out from all the other types of Pokemon in Smash Bros. Already. And it's a very popular Pokemon. And sometimes they just pick random Pokemon that are in the roster somewhere, like in the lineup of that generation somewhere. They have done that before. It's not always legendaries and starters. And I do think Toxtricity is a very popular choice too, because it's like a fairy rhythm type Pokemon. It has a very interesting electric rhythm fairy type style to it, which would make it kind of unique in terms of a fighter for Smash Brothers. And it's just super popular, and a lot of people request it. And I think it's one of the biggest new non-starter Pokemon from the Galar region that I think a lot of people have gravitated to and could probably be used heavily in the anime. I think it has a chance as a non-legendary, non-starter Pokemon. And then my last 2 are going to be kind of representative of the DLC / them updating the Pokemon roster. My first one is going to go to Zarude, that dark grass monkey thing, which technically is in with the Isle DLC, the first set of DLC, but also just updating the game. So it's kind of, they haven't really guaranteed where that Pokemon's at yet. It's in the DLC, but in the update, so it's either or. And then Urshifu, which is clearly in the DLC. And they're both technically legendaries, but they're DLC legendaries, and they could both be used as advertisements. Like a lot of Pokemon are, like Pokemon Fire Emblem, a lot of their choices are used as advertisements to represent newer games or newer DLC or newer something. I think Urshifu stands a chance because it's the definitive Pokemon from the first set of DLC, and Zarude is like the big legendary new dark monkey type, so it'd be like a Mewtwo, like an evil Pokemon, and we don't really have a dark type on the roster yet, and that also fills your need and people's requirements of wanting to have a grass Pokemon that's by itself on the roster, so it's a dark grass legendary monkey. So I think that's pretty much my choices right there. So that pretty much concludes that I think it's going to be, my 8 choices are either it's going to be one of the 3 main starters, in their final evolution, Cinderace, Inteleon, Rillaboom. It's going to be either Zamazenta or Zacian, the legendary dogs on the cover, wolves, dogs, whatever. it's going to be Toxtricity to represent a very popular non-starter legendary Pokemon, or it's going to be one of the two legendaries that represent like the update / DLC coming out, which will be Urshifu or Zarude. Could it be any of those choices that are not mentioned? Could it be a choice that's not mentioned? Sure, but I think all 8 of those fit the requirements that they tend to go for. They either go for starters, they go for legendaries, or they go for super popular Pokemon of said generation. And I think those 8 equal out to representing all 3 of those categories. Some more than others, some this, that, whatever. Some represent certain categories, some represent like all of it too, technically. So, like, those are the choices I see them going for. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think those are the definitive 8 choices that they're going to be picking from to get a DLC character from Pokemon Sword and Shield and Smash Bros. Ultimate? Or do you think there's another Pokemon from Sword and Shield from Galar that they might pick to represent that game in the DLC, if it is to get DLC like how Fire Emblem Three Houses got Byleth? Put in the comment section down below. We could discuss it there. My name is Sniping is Fun. Peace. Please subscribe if you want to. Have a lovely day, and I'll see y'all later in the next video. More Smash videos coming, more top 10s, the 5s, all that's going to be coming in the future. I'm working on videos constantly behind the scenes. I'm sorry, a lot of stuff is not coming out more frequently, but I'm using what time I can get outside of work to try to do all this stuff. So I'm sorry, and I hope you guys stay tuned for more stuff coming from this channel. And I'll see y'all later. Bye.